For me, design is something that can create impact and also serve a purpose of its own. Reusability, kind of a simple word, but I'll move on to the example furthermore. So this is the product that we've designed first under the brand that we work with. It's a simple newspaper which has been block printed using traditional block printing techniques. So what we've done here is we've given a newspaper a second life, reusability. Okay, so what happens when we do that? It creates a possibility of a new life, not just for the material part of it itself, but also there is a possibility of creating new life for the craft itself. So I have an example here. So if you don't realize till the time I flip it over that this was a newspaper, right? So if you look at it in a way that how it creates impact, there are two couple of ways that we can look at. The one is the traditional craft. The second is how it's made. The block printing happens within a non-profit that we work with in Hubli, and they employ or empower those who are differently able. So we are trying to look at multiple directions for this. Then the second product that we have, it's the same product, but it creates an experience for the end user. So this was an interesting story that happened to us. That one of the customer, she bought this paper from us, and then she gifted it away to somebody else using this paper. She gifted something than this, and she says that after a few months, she received a gift packed in the same paper back to her because the idea which is embedded within the product creates that impact, and how this can create the experience itself a second life, right? So that was an interesting story for us to look at. The next, we recently launched this new products that we've designed. They are made out of different printing margins that are left over at printing units. And if we kind of put an estimation to this margins, this is always around 3 to 15% of it. And if you technically look at it, what happens is we are wasting or discarding that much of a material or the energy that has gone into production of that material directly without even giving it a first life. So we kind of looked at that, those kind of materials, and kind of start working that how can we give another life to this. And that's when we worked on this lighting elements thing. And another interesting part about this product is the three gear like elements on the right side. They are not actually fresh materials, they are also part of discarded material. That's They are old and discarded vinyl records. So how it can be given into a second life, it's something which made it, the design itself made it a more modular. Now what happens is the previous one, if let's say you got bored with this design, you can actually replace this design with something else that comes later on using just the paper filling part, not replacing the whole product itself. This is a clear kind of a quick one definition that what is the difference between upcycling and recycling. Upcycling is basically you use a material as it is, like I showed you the newspaper. The new material, don't reform it into a new material and then use it, but rather use it as it is if it's possible. This range of product that we did in 2017, this was the calendars that we designed, and it is a combination of four different processes and materials. These papers that we use here are 100% recycled fabric pulp. Then the printing that we've done on this is a old type of letterpress printing, if anybody is aware of what it used to be and how beautiful it was. And the abstract ink that you see on the image is actually dip dyed in kitchen waste. The blue one comes from cabbage that is there. The one brown on top, that comes from tea, which is made once, but we boil it again so that we can get the color and then work on it. The base that you see, the base also is discarded wooden pieces after production that goes to Chennapatna, and then we use that craft also to kind of create a product which was interesting. So what happens after the year is over? The paper can be recycled, and the base becomes your incense stick stand or a cone stand. It's just an idea that we put in, even in the literature that we have in the papers that we have printed. It says that how do you reuse it. Inclusivity. These are very simple products that we've kind of recently introduced, and kind of we started working on how can we make design more inclusive than just be an end product for just the person who is using it. So how we took it upon is we designed the whole process. Everybody who interacts with the raw material or the product from end to the end, from the start to the end user, they are all in a way users, right? So and this what we've done is these are simple products. These are lampshade which are made out of using paper mache technique, and the top cover that we have is our block printed newspaper, whereas the inner papers are layers of old discarded newspapers. and who makes it, that makes the whole design very much inclusive. So we work with an NGO that is called Sandesh. They work with intellectually disabled individuals, and this product provides them a individual persons to creative or a art therapy kind of a product which they carry out throughout the day. So they stay calm during the day when they are doing it, and that makes the product itself is very interesting. It's a simple product, but it has a backstory which where we consider the producer itself as a user of this product, and then made an inclusive design for this. The next point that I want to talk about is scalability and human energy. We recently found this idea that how can we scale this up to a larger scale. So these are paper strips that you might see at different printing presses in different sizes and formats that we have. What we started to look at is this also is analyzed into a percentage. If you put a percentage, it ranges from 2% to 8% of actual fresh material, and this is not even considered as a even a possibility. So what we've done is we kind of started looking at it as a raw material and work around the idea that how can we use this to kind of create a larger impact. So we started with this paper, and obviously that happened. We started weaving this paper, like putting it together. Like how can we do this by hand and without using machine processing it, and how can we do this? So we kind of work with the systems and kind of doing replicating how can we do that. But at the end, what came was this beautiful material, but it had certain limitations. It was not scalable in terms of production, and it has when we are doing it just by hand without using anything, it was only just a little larger paper than A4 size, which was coming out after one day of work. If we are going to do this, then we'll have to look at the possibility of consuming a larger amount of discarded material. So how can we do this? So we'll look back into our core philosophy that how can we kind of look at this, and that's when the idea of handloom came in. That how can we redesign a handloom that can actually weave paper and then give it a second life, as well as increase the production capacity, and actually look at it at a larger scale. So what happened was this one. This is something that I've designed, and even the loom itself is made out of a discarded wood, and this has recently been registered for patent, and that's something which we are proud of. And what happened after this is the increase in capacity production has gone up to 600%. So there is a small video that shows how the thing comes together. And the loom is designed in such a way that it's a modular thing, so we can send it out to individual houses, and it can be produced out of waste wood, which is even packaging wood or something like that. So that was just 45 minutes of work. So, and this is the outcome of the loom. When it's different sizes and different thicknesses are woven together, this is what comes out of it at the end, and that's a reference for you to look at the scale. So we have used 2, 3, and 5 papers here, which is available in different color and sizes and thickness. And this is the outcome of a printing press which prints labels for your garments and all that stuff. So it's the garment labels. So the thickness is also very interesting, makes it the whole itself. And now what we're doing is we're exploring this material to kind of use it in interior application, architectural experiences. That how can we create modular things using this material. So this is a raw material that we designed, and it has a possibility to scale up to a larger scale, where we can employ a lot of people and create a scalability issue. And again, another thing which is embedded within this is a human energy. How I look at it is what we tried here is redefining handmade in a different way, different context of current context. That what we look at human energy is a replacement energy of a machine. Can we do that? What used to happen before industrial revolution? We used to make a lot of products which by hand, and it was an energy efficient scenario, right? So that's something which happened to us then, and we kind of embedded within our core philosophy after this. So our core philosophy talks about how can we use discarded resources, use human energy as replacement energy, and create sustainable livelihoods all together, putting in creating an impact, not even just for the producer, but also for the users who are going to make it. Because as you saw the newspaper, it instantly tells you something that you learned. And this is our team, and that's the outcome. Right, 2 meters of that's 1 days of production, where before that we were just doing just an A4 size of production. Little to talk about the initiative itself, that how we are trying to kind of figure out our initiative in different ways. So we work in different locations and collaborate with a lot of NGOs that are there. So this is our in-house and kind of overlap with outsourced partners. So in-house team has a multidisciplinary designers that we have, We have master artisans who are getting trained right now for the scalability that we are looking at, and junior artisans who will actually produce. So how we work is, let's say we start experimenting with a material. So we take a material which is a waste material, try and kind of explore that material from its technical feasibility and every perspective, and then work on that material for a production of one or two lines, and then we hand it over to a NGO partner, which will kind of take up that material and kind of scale up the production. So that's how we work with a rehabilitation center that is there in Hubli. Then we have the Foundation and Sandesh, as I talked before also. So they work with the lighting elements as well as paper mache, which actually gives the people that they are supporting kind of activity for the day. And Sahas Zero Waste, we have they provide us with a lot of scalable products, which are 100% recycled papers and all. And we also collaborate with independent designers to kind of have a lot of exchange of ideas and take this the philosophy that we have, take it further to a scale where we can actually look at reusability at a large scale and create sustainable livelihoods. This is us in house. The brand name that we have is the Second Life. That's our brand name, and it has a very interesting connection with my own life. That when I was 11, I had an accident, and when I was in recovery, people would come, family members, and they will talk to me, and then when they're discussing, they'll say that you got a second chance, second life. So that somehow stuck to my head somewhere. And then when I was working on this different design products and all that, it kind of came together, all of this that kind of became one, and I could visualize products and connect them to a different possibilities in sustainability, and then look at further. And this is kind of a overall picture that we have and how we work together. And what I want to leave you guys with is a question. The arc actually is something which we are trying to do. We have covered that arc, and what I want to leave you guys with is a question: that can we implement this kind of philosophies thinking within the work that we do every day? Can it be possible? And because I'm a designer, I don't want to say it from the design perspective, or the traditional one. I say that anybody who creates any solution, provides any solution, is a designer. Even an accountant is a designer. So how can they kind of bring in such a certain values that they have using these philosophies to the world? Thank you.